to kind of pivot a little bit, go. All right, cool. Since we, talking about court in that regard, you already said you don't really plan to have kids, don't really want kids. Are you? I don't know.
Man, y'all got acquainted. How the fuck y'all get to the kids? I was sitting here 3 minutes prior to pressing play.
It's my guy now. Yeah, so we going out later, not you. Yeah.
I got crabbed.
Yeah, but how about marriage? I'm not sure if we're married, or is that something also you're not for, or how do you feel about? And also, as well, part of that question, prenups. How we feel about that, and either way of the coin, we can go first.
I guess to answer your first question with marriage, I mean that's something that to me on a personal level is important. Like that's what I definitely want to have that union with somebody. I think it's hard, to really, I guess, find a partner that you can really have those feelings with, and I think that takes a long time to develop. Mm-hmm. But the one I'm with right now is absolutely amazing, and does everything to support me, and is really just exudes all the principles of being a partner and a future wife that I could ask for. But not having kids is just kind of a personal thing. Like I was telling you earlier, I just don't really have a
He's a dog dad.
Yeah, fuck them kids.
Yeah, dog dad. But I've never had that fatherly instinct. But to segue into prenups. So that's always a really hot topic of conversation. Yeah. That and from a legal perspective, I understand why men in general want to get prenups, and some women want to get prenups. Because I don't think it's necessarily rooted in I want to be avaricious with my assets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you see, like, I forget what show it is where the guy has like a lot of money, and he has the girl who is like really hot and kind of spoiled and wants to not have to have a prenup because she feels that it's like mistrustful ultimately. Yeah. But they're good documents for, if both parties agree to it, I think that it can be a good just parachute to make a potential, I'm not saying it will be, a potential divorce a lot easier. And you're not allowed in a prenup to go through kind of child custody. That's not something you can dictate.
Okay, so you can't say I'm taking this one, you take that one.
Yeah, you cannot do that. But you can detail who gets what assets, and you can detail, how much of a portion of real property or cars or wealth that you can contribute to. But that's a whole segment that I learned in law school about what's marital property and what's not. But I think it really depends on the trust you have for your partner and what you want to do.
Do you think you would do one though?
I don't know. Okay. I really don't know. And I don't want to say like, yes, I would do a prenup, or no, I wouldn't do a prenup. I think it would really depend on the situation. But I think when you bring a prenup into a conversation in a relationship or a potential marriage, it almost sounds like, well, in the event, you're like, it's like a harbinger for failure. And you're basically saying if our marriage fails, I'm keeping what I have, and you get nothing, or you get just this. And it definitely brings up a lot of feelings, and that can ruin a relationship and ruin a marriage.
So I think that I'm not against prenups, right? And I'm gonna say why, because
most men aren't.
I wouldn't accredit it to trust, and I feel like most women wouldn't be if they were the ones with the assets to give up.
Correct.
So I feel like it's a person thing. I wouldn't say it's men or women that's against. I think that coming into it, I think that it's not really. I wouldn't accredit it to a lack of trust, but more so it could, in essence, take away the struggle of a divorce and having to figure out what gets allocated. Even if you say we splitting everything 50-50 in the agreement, it's like we don't, when this marriage is being dissolved, it's like we know who's walking away with what, so it's not no extra process of what that look like. Right. And then I feel like also it gives someone it gives them the ability to be able to be intentional about how they want to give their person, because some divorces ain't always got to be catastrophic. It could just be like, yo, this shit not working, but I still want to see you happy. So you can still take half. Like if you want to really get away from somebody, you can take all this shit, just let me the fuck out. You know what I mean? Right. So I feel like people put it in this category as if the moment you want one, you're trying to preclude that this person is a gold digger, or this person is a user, or this person wants you for your money, man or woman. And it's like, in reality, it could just be to take that part of the conversation off the table so we can focus on our feelings. Because at the end of it, if we pretty fucked up about what's going on, the last thing you want to be thinking about is who get what car, who get what house. So I think that can help. Another thing, because I want to add to the conversation, I think that, and I don't care how people feel, I think that fucking paternity tests should be mandatory at birth.
I agree.
And the reason being is because I know it's like, oh, well, that means you think your significant other has been unfaithful. No, it has nothing to do with that. As a man, I have no guaranteed way of knowing that this is my kid without these DNA results. Women push a baby out. So you have certainty. You know what I mean? I don't even want to make it a trust thing. Now, of course, we ain't going to sit here and act like a lot of men ain't find out to their oblivion that this kid isn't there after a certain amount of time. So I think that it's all about presentation. And if it was mandated and not put on the couple to make that decision, then it wouldn't be like the man don't trust his woman. It'd just be more so like, I want to know now to say, oh, well, you laid down with this person. That means absolutely nothing, because I could think I made a clear judgment of who I'm dealing with. And I could have made a big fucking error in judgment, and I would never know because I think that, oh, this person has my best interest, when the whole time we all know that it's people that literally have lived and died not knowing who their real father was. Right. And, you know, that's not to blame any woman, because all women ain't like that. But the fact of the matter is, if it's mandated, then it's like, it ain't got nothing to do with it. It's a fucking part of the system.
Yeah. You know, you get your ultrasound, let's do the blood.
And it's an equity.
Take the shit. What you need, pee, blood, or what? Spit. Take what you need.
And not to super deviate it, but just to double down even more on the discussions, I feel like if women got pregnant and it wasn't like, so let's say you get pregnant and it's like a dude can sign a document, a DocuSign or something like that, saying like, oh no, yeah, I actually don't agree with this. I don't want to have this baby, whatever. I feel a lot of women wouldn't have kids still. And a man can say, I opt out. Like, this wasn't a mutual thing to have this, to go through with this birth. So he's not bound to this too? It's just me here? I'm a single mom going through this?
I get what you're saying. You're saying if he can literally, I think you can sign over here right though, right?
You can, but ultimately, I mean, it doesn't vitiate the child support.
Exactly.
And that's
like
where
he can opt out before the baby comes and say, no, I didn't agree to this. I didn't, no. I didn't. I thought we was doing a plan B. I thought we was doing something like that, whatever. And shit, nah, nigga, we pregnant. This is our baby now. And he'd be like, no, DocuSign that, opt out. I think a lot of women be like, oh, actually, clinic me, I'm cool.
But I like the approach, right? I think to your philosophy, I think that, you know, women will argue that the man made the decision to ejaculate in them. So it's like, that's where, because for a long time, I would have, if this was 5 years ago, right, prior to me writing any book, I'd have been feeling like, you know, like that. Like, yeah, that actually made kind of sense. But now as I look at it from an accountable standpoint, right, it's like, I'm not even putting myself in a predicament to have to sign that document.
Correct.
Of course.
Like, you know I'm saying? Now I can say that.
I get it.
But I understand it's like the philosophy of it is like, nah, like that would offset the amount of women pushing men into parenthood. But now I'm like, you know what? We hold the gun first.
Of course.
You don't shoot up the club. You don't got to go stand trial.
All right, I'm going to bring it back. So I always think about, I have a daughter, and I always think if I was a woman as well.
Wait, what?
If I think about
why the fuck are you thinking about if you were a woman? Like,
because I'm thinking about advice I would give to my daughter as if I was a woman. If I'm in your shoes, right. So I don't really, when women say, "Oh my God, I'm a single mom," or this happened or that happened, this and that, whatever, it's like 9 times out of 10, signs were there that you were going to end up being a single mom.
Yeah.
But you thought you was going to be able to pressure him, do this, take him to child support, this and that, whatever, and now you're a single mom.
Yeah.
And I feel like, but if you thought you didn't have those cards, those ace cards, whatever, those big jokers, 9 months ago, and the dude was like, oh no, I opt out. I did not agree to have a baby. Yes, I nutted in you. It is what it is. He was stupid for that. That's accountability. But now he's trying to say, I don't want to have this baby.
Yeah.
And I'm going to opt out legally. I think a lot of women be like, nah, this game was not worth it. And I feel if that was me, if I'm a woman, I'm pregnant, if this ain't a slam dunk, we ain't together, we ain't at the baby shower, holding hands, happy, kumbaya, holding my hand through all the sounds, all that shit. If it ain't that, I'm not having this fucking baby at all.
So what happened when it's all of that, and then the baby's here, and now it's none of that?
Those are the anomalies.
No.
Yes, I ain't wrote. Those are anomalies. 9 times out of 10, niggas, I agree, because you was gonna be a single mom. It was there. The cards was in your hand.
So you made both points. I feel like one end of it is like, yes, like women try to control the outcome, and they try to control what parameters the man could operate in. You're going to be a dad, like whether you want to be or not. So I understand, but on the other side, it's like men play the game too, because it's like, it's like, all right, cool, like I want to impregnate you, but then I'm going to present myself in these ways.
He's a sicko,
and it ain't always got to be a planned exit. Sometimes it could just not work. So what, like in those instances, it's like they still end up as single moms. But what I like about, to speak to my own mom, my mom was a single mom up until she got my step-pop of all of her children, essentially. My mom always said, I chose sorry fathers. I laid down with them. I chose. That's what she always said. So for me, that was always one of the situations where it was like, I didn't grow up with my mom. None of our dads was on child support. None of them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what type of arrangements they had, but for the most part, she said, y'all my kids. I'm gonna figure it out. My mom is an anomaly. So it's like that made me feel like when I started to grow up and I'm like, I only ever seen the example of a woman who just fucking said, you know what? I fucked up. I did it. I'm just gonna take care of these motherfuckers by myself.
Super anomaly.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm wondering like, well, where the fuck is the woman? Because you know your first representation of a woman is your mother. So it's like, I'm thinking that women are like that. And then when I get older, I'm like, they ain't nothing like that. These motherfuckers will blame everything but themselves. It's never them. And I'm like, yo.
And I grew up with mom saying, no, ain't no pregnancies happen by accident. Go to get an abortion. You a dickhead. If you have a baby, that ain't ideal. Like, no, like, that's what I grew up with.
But also goes into like kind of what you talk about in your book about using accountability as a shield on both sides of the spectrum for both men and for women. I mean, as a man, like if you were going to, you know, have unprotected sex with a woman and you know the consequences of that is that she could potentially get pregnant, you know, you've crossed that boundary that you should have set for yourself. And you are somewhat deserving of the consequences of that action.
100%.
And if you do that with a woman that you is either, you know, kind of just a meaningless encounter and you haven't vetted whether or not she's going to be a good mother, you haven't vetted whether or not you want to have a relationship with her, you're stuck for 18 years, whether you like her or not. Yeah. And you know, to segue back to the whole child support thing, you know, if she wants to put you on child support, you're getting put on child support. And then that's your wages, your money, and whether you like her or not, you know, you're going to have an unequivocal love for your child, but you're stuck with it. And even if you try to sign away and say, I never wanted this baby, you know, at the end of the day, you still made that, it still doesn't get away from that decision. And
but the child doesn't deserve to be fatherless because you got horny.
Absolutely.
And unhorned.
Yeah, I was only pointing out that I feel there will be a lot more abortions. That's all. Like, it would be a lot more abortions.
That's what I said.
The baby still go through. Yeah, it's still a fucked up, broken home and all that
but
shit.
You're saying like if they had to face any amount of consequence,
this is 100% on you. Yeah.
Outside, but I feel like their consequence is more long standing because they have to raise a child alone. So it's like they come around and realize that at some point, unless they just a part of the He-Man Hazers Club and they just on the board of members. It's like other than that, they tend to realize. But what I would like women to really understand, you know what I mean? And I say this with love is like, understand the effect that you have on your child's life, right? Because like I feel like, especially if, you know, for the women who don't allow their kids to see their fathers, right? It's like you think that because you can't put together this family portrait of it works out that the family is destroyed, but for real, nah, like healthy co-parenting situations can still bring about a good human being.
Absolutely.
But if you allow your emotion to dictate your decisions, you feel like because he wasn't shit to you, then that makes him not shit to your child, then you are doing more damage to your child than he ever could because you're not even giving him the opportunity to let his child down. Some of y'all have made the decisions that baby dads don't deserve to be fathers after making this man a father.
Insane.
To the point where you stripped your child of the opportunity to have a father. You don't know what type of man he was going to be to your kid. Just because he don't love you, just because he don't fuck with you, just because he don't want to be with you, don't mean that he don't love, care, and fuck with his child. And another thing I'm going to pivot to, it seemed like in most cases that I've personally witnessed, the man who wants to be there but don't want to be with you is always the man that end up on child support. It's never the man that don't want shit to do with you. It's like y'all either want the man all the way in, which includes you, or y'all want him all the way out so y'all can have sole control over the decision making. And then when a child grow up without accountability or doing things that you can't handle or control, you try to blame it on the absence of a father without taking into account all the decisions that you made leading up to him being absent. Which is one of the things that I gotta point out about my mom, because at the end of the day, for my entire life, she has always said things in the most subtlest of ways. Your dad a liar. Your dad this. Your dad that. So these little subtle suggestions to a kid that's very impressionable and susceptible to believing his mother because I love her. This is my mom. I had an obscured perspective of my dad without ever even really getting to know him. My dad spent 27 years of my life in jail, right? For the most part. And probably even in a little 5 or 6 months, he might be home before going back for another 7 years. We've really rarely interacted. And I always only knew my dad through her perspective, which was he's a liar. He did. She made me scared of the man, right? So I'm thinking, if you see your dad run, don't tell him where we live. This is her experience. This is not. She made me think my dad was this abusive ass guy. You follow what I'm saying? And it wasn't until I got older when I talked to him, because now I'm going through therapy, all these different things. I want to confront this man and I want to know what's going on. People on my dad's side has always said, your dad's not a bad guy. Like, your dad is not a bad person. He loves his kids. He's just in jail, right? But my mom's complete opposite. Nah, that motherfucker is a liar. He this, he that. So it's like, all right, cool. My steppop was a real solid individual, a real stand-up guy. So it was all right. Thank God I got an actual father figure that's good enough to, you know.
It's not a psycho.
Yeah,
of course,
so
my mom.
no, not even just that, but it's just more so like that it was able to raise me to becoming a man. So I had that. So when my dad came home or whatever, he was home for some time, he always would like utter around the world like, yeah, my son don't fuck with me and this, that, and the third. So I'm just like, why is that the narrative? Like, I mean, I don't at this particular time, but at the same time, bro, you know why I don't fuck with you.
Like you did something to him.
Yeah, you like, you act like I did some crap shit. You follow what I'm saying? So in a nutshell, I reached out and I was like, look, you know, because I wanted to be intentional about building a relationship. I said, look, you want to catch an Eagles game? He was like, yo, I've never been. I'm like, all right, I'm going to take you to the game. You know, I decided to pick an away game because I wanted to drive. So we went out to the one that was in Landover, Maryland against the Commanders at the time. And it was like a 3-hour drive. So in that 3 hours, up and back, it was 6 hours. We got to unpack a lot of shit. And what I discovered in that conversation was that it's never that he was a bad guy. He was just in jail. And then in 2, my mom was just hurt at the fact that when he went to jail the first time, she found out that he was cheating on her. So she left, took whatever she took. This was before cell phones and technology, moved us all the way across the city. So with the stories I used to hear, yeah, your dad is kicking down people's doors trying to find me. He said, yes, I was trying to find y'all. She took my son. That's my family. I'm in jail. I come home. My family is gone. Why wouldn't I be going to other people's houses that I know who might know where she at with aggression? I wasn't trying to harm y'all. Y'all my family. Why would I want to harm somebody? You follow what I'm saying? And what fucked me up, I'm keeping it a being. This really fucked me up. When he called my mom, he said, call her. And I said, Mom, I'm sitting here with my dad. He's saying that you lying. First she said, what? I ain't lying. He said, he get on the phone. He like, so da-da-da-da-da. He addresses it. And then my mom put on the most sweetest, she sounded like a teenager. Yeah, da-da-da-da. Yo, it fucked me up. So then all right, we get past that talk, me and him talk, whatever. We started to build, whatever. I take my mom off her birthday. I say, Mom, we need to talk. So we talking, and she just admitted to me, it was like, son, I was young and I was hurt. You follow what I'm saying? So yes, like of course, like your dad did do things like, you know, to me, but at the same time, when I look back on it, we was kids. He was 22 years old. You know, my mom was older than my dad. She like, but I was still young. I was hurt. I was moving off my emotions. So, you know, like basically, essentially, she kept me away from him. Well, jail kept me away from him. But I could have communicated him through that process. But she was so busy not trying to deal with him that she made me not deal with him, and convinced me and all of my siblings that he was this crazy lunatic that was going to harm us if he seen us. To the point where my sister seen him on Broad Street one day and ran through one of his little brief stints of being home before going back to jail. But I say all that to say that when it fucked me up to find out that this whole time I could have been arguing with him, and I had this perspective of him. Now, he did hurt what I perceived to be hurt my feelings when I was like 14. I called my brother and was like, yo, let me get Dad's number. He was like, he don't want you to have his number. You feel me? And I'm like, damn, like that fucked me up. So I confronted him about that in like 2017 when he was home for like a brief, how long has he been home for? I forgot. Whatever. It was whatever year he was home. I think he ain't been back since. But he was like, I never said that. He said that. I'm going to punch him in his fucking face. That's what he said about my brother. So he called my brother, and my brother called me like, oh shit, I never told you, psych, no. I just ain't want you to ask him for nothing. So all of the instances in where I had some real fucking
secondhand accounts of
I really didn't fuck with him was not even him. Right. And I say that to say to anybody out there who might not know their dad. And even if some kids go into it with an unrealistic expectation of who their dad should be. You owe me this. You wasn't around. My mom said you was this. My mom said you were that. So you got to do this, that, third. Or you're a dad. You got to pay for everything. You got to admit. No, we are men. I'm a dad now. I'm human. So it's like, even when I make sure I raise my kids in a realistic sense, you have to go through the same thing because you're a dad as well. But it's like, I'm in a co-parenting situation. So it's like, I dealt with having to combat things that my baby mother has said to my child about me, to where it's like, I have to relay the facts. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of kids don't get their dads the opportunity, even as grown-ass adults, because y'all holding on to the perspective of the moms. A lot of moms die without taking accountability because they feel like, oh, you hurt me, so you was going to hurt my kid. I was protecting my kid. You ain't protecting your fucking kid. You hurting your kid. You need to let your kid have a relationship with their father, whether the father want to have a relationship with you or not. And you don't got to force the man to be a dad. Just keep the door open. That's one thing my mom said she would always do. I'm not going to force him, but I'm going to keep the door open.
For sure. And before we pivot into the idea of talking about, like, me and my man always had this overarching debate about who contributes more to broken homes. The supposed deadbeat dad or the mom that's in these situations keeping the kids from them for their